What's going on, everybody? It is Jamie,
And John?
and welcome to the A-To-Zed Reseller Podcast. How's it going this week, John?
Yeah, pretty good, man. It's been, it's been a little bit of a whirlwind, as things normally are when you're trying to run a full-time job and a reselling side hustle. But no complaints. How about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I forget what the full-time job feels like now, but I don't, to be
No,
quite
no, you don't. No, you don't.
honest. No, but yeah, it's weird how your days can certainly be just a whirlwind. No matter what you're doing, it just seems like I think I'm the problem sometimes. I don't. I get hyper focused on one thing, and then all of a sudden I'll try to do 12 other things, and then I don't feel like going back to the original thing. I know
Right.
that's probably some sort of disorder I've got, but
And
but
at
yeah,
the end of the day, you realize you're actually down, like you're net minus 3 things done because you've created more things to do.
sometimes it feels like that. I mean, if I'm just doing one thing and I'm hyper focused on that one thing, I'm a machine. I can just continue to do that and rip it apart. But when I have multiple things to do, man, I always used to think I was really good at multitasking. I think maybe I should change my opinion on that. I'm terrible at multitasking for sure. I just need to keep my focus on one thing, and I think things would be much better. But you know,
Well, here's what I've realized about myself over the years. I'm really good at multitasking in that I can do many things at once. It doesn't mean I'm doing those things well or
yeah,
that multitasking is the right thing for me.
yeah,
but,
that's
but I'm good at doing many things at one time.
yeah. I guess that makes sense. I guess I can relate to that as well too. It's not that I'm not capable; just the quality suffers for sure.
Yep, yep, for sure.
Yeah, how'd your week go this week online? I know we started talking just before we started recording about the booth, and we can get
Mm.
into that. I know you got some changes happening there, but how about just online sales to kick it off here?
Yeah, I mean, so last week, like up until last Saturday, if I look at those like Sunday to Saturday numbers, it's one of the best weeks I've had all year. So
Okay.
things definitely picked back up. Now, having said that, some of that, of course, is because I'm throwing more of this video game stuff online and whatnot, and that stuff's fast selling and it's coming out of my own personal collection. But it's still sales, and sales are good. This week's been a little bit slower though. Like definitely, I don't think I've made a Poshmark sale in like 3 days, which is very very odd for me. eBay's still kind of poking along. Like I don't think this week's gonna match last week by any means, but overall it's not too bad. Jeez, did you see my lights just dim?
Yeah, I seen a little flicker go on there. Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
nice. Yeah.
I don't know if my light bulb is just dying finally. I've never changed it since I moved here 3 years ago. I don't think it was a power flicker or anything because, like, I've got my laptop in front of me and all that's good. But
Yeah. So actually, see the light boxes behind me here, directly behind me, the black ones on the stands.
yeah,
I've been complaining for I don't know, about a month and I've rewired the one. It's had a switch and I rewired it just direct. So there's no switch. It's either on or off. And I'm like, okay, this thing's finally dying. It was flickering. It'd make crazy noises like it's about to catch on fire sometimes. And I'm like, oh man, like I do not want to buy new light boxes. Today, for some reason, I'm like, I've got extra light bulbs. I should just change the light bulb. Just a light bulb.
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
complaining. I think I just said to Amanda yesterday, like, I'm all the money I've spent recently, I just do not want to buy. Like, there's nothing exciting about buying light boxes. They serve a purpose and I need them, but yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I kind of need my overhead light down here. It's like
Yeah.
my office area. It's where I work, and so anyway, hopefully that's not too annoying. If it continues, I mean, I'll just go and turn it off, and then I'll just be in a little bit dark mode for this podcast episode. But yeah, it can't be flickering up like that in my face. That's going to bother me.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah. So for me, I would say sales were okay, but I'm
Oh,
with you on Poshmark. It hasn't been my typical Poshmark experience. Um,
mm,
I have noticed, and you might want to go back and look for yourself. I don't know if this has something to do with Poshmark themselves, or maybe it has something to do with our automation that we're using. But I notice I get offers that I didn't even know that I have sometimes. I'll go and there'll be expired offers that I never even really knew that I had. I don't have push notifications turned on because I find them really annoying for Poshmark. So I'll manually go look, or even go look through my emails. And I don't know if I've missed them or if I just see offers that have already expired. I'm like, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah, that's weird. Because I obviously, I've got push notifications turned off for Poshmark as well. Because I mean, if I got a notification every time someone shared something, like that's just crazy. But when I get offers, I am supposed to get an email for that, and I do. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's something on their back end that's like missing some, and it's like that email's not getting triggered or what. But
yeah, you should just go into your offers and just take a look and see if they all make sense to you. I did find a handful last week for sure that I was like, this doesn't look right. But yeah, I don't know. It could be anything. You know what I mean? Like, I do think Poshmark's just slow right now for me, for sure. But
is Posh US doing anything different for you, or is that kind of in the same sort of vein?
I think last week I might have had 5 sales total on Posh.com, so the US one. But I mean, I'm still happy with that. I mean, I kind of look at, if I didn't, so I'm the type of person for sure, if I didn't have multiple platforms I'm listing on, I don't know besides eBay if there's a platform that really produces enough money for me that I'd consider it an income. But when I put them all together, it's definitely enough money that I'm not like, it's fine. Yeah, I wouldn't want to just like personally just want to just rely on Poshmark, either one, or last month on Depop, I think I only made 2 sales all month. But sometimes I'll make like 20 in a week. Like, it's so hard to say. It's just very inconsistent. So yeah.
Because we talked last week about, and I don't know if we actually touched on it during the podcast itself or if it was afterwards, but we talked briefly about possibly getting set up with Stallion Express. Like for me, even though I'm in a very rural area, rural Nova Scotia, and don't have Stallion Express near me, but trying to maybe get set up with them anyway, and then like just mailing all my orders in, I guess, kind of like Tabs does or something. So figured I'd just mention that I did set up a Stallion Express account, and I did look at what it could potentially cost me depending on the size of package I'm sending in to send all my orders into them through UPS. And it's pretty reasonable actually. Like if I had, say, 5 like smaller clothing, like 5 just kind of smaller poly mailer clothing type of things that I had to put in a box and send to them, maybe it's like $12 or $15 Canadian in total. Plus, I guess they do take like a 90-cent fee or something like that. Or I think you'd mentioned some small fee to like do the cross-border shipping or something. But I was thinking about it. I was like, that actually still would be well worth it for me, I think, to do that. Because even if that meant like out of every, say, 5 sales, I kind of lose the profits off of one of them.
Yeah,
it's still allowing you to make profits on 4 sales, right? So
it's a huge audience too in the US. So I do have some good news for you. The first shipment that I did like that last week, even though Labor Day and everything fell in there, got there no problem. It took 1 day once it got there for things to get scanned and actually show up that they were moving on eBay. Now this week, actually, so just today, UPS picked up another order for me, and this one is going to be more interesting to you, I think. So this one had a mixture of eBay, and I sent 2 Posh.com orders. So I had to, basically, when you sell something on Posh.com, they give you the label just like normal. What you have to do is you have to go back into Stallion and act like you're shipping it again. But instead of it asks you, do you need postage for this? And you say no. So at that point, at the end, instead of picking like a shipping like priority mail, it asks you to put in your tracking number you already have. Then they charge you the 90 cents. But what happens is once you have a whole bunch of those, you have to amalgamate those into a batch, and then you save the batch and print off a piece of paper that they can scan. and that just puts them all in the same order, basically. So you just batch those. So
right.
I did that with
and that's what you put in your box that you send to them.
Yes, but you don't need to do that with eBay orders or those type of things because they're already bought through Stallion Express and it's their labels. But this is my first time shipping in an order of Poshmark.com. So I'll let you know how that process goes and if it gets scanned. So the one problem I would say is if you're not careful and you put the tracking number in wrong, you can fix it after the fact, but you have to hope that the Stallion Express person or the guy who looks at it lets you know that there's a problem. When I drop it off in London, I'm buddies with that guy, and he'll text me or call me and say, "Hey, there's a problem with this one." I can usually fix it on my phone and text him back. He's like, "Yep, works good now, thanks." So there's a relationship there. You just don't have that same relationship if you're sending a box full of stuff in. That's all. But
right. And yeah, so combining all those things on one sheet that they can then scan, that's just kind of like their picking list, just to make sure, like, okay, number one, that's this one. Number two, yep, that's this one. Just so what they're putting through their system and expecting to send to the US on your behalf, if we're talking Posh US, is exactly what's in the box, right? Everything just matches up.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
I do want to mention neither one of us are sponsored by Stallion Express at all. I only ever mention Stallion Express on my channel because I get a lot of flack about it sometimes too from people messaging me and stuff like that. I that's what I'm using. It saves me a bunch of money, and we're only talking about it to help you, so that other people understand that it's an option that you could potentially use this.
Well, yeah, exactly. And again, I mean, yeah, not sponsored at all. It's interesting to me because it literally opens up another market for me. It opens up Posh US as a possibility. I don't have cross-border shipping options here. I don't have, like, I'm in the western end of Nova Scotia where there's nothing, like no one's running across the border because it's like, I don't know. Even to drive to the New Brunswick and Maine border is probably like an 8-hour drive from me or something like that. Like, it's just not happening. So yeah, this allows me to use them as a way, and I just got to send them the packages so they can do it. It's intriguing. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to go ahead because, like, I mean, I probably will. I'm not 100% sure, I guess, when I'll go ahead and, like, create the US account and, what I put over there or whatever. But it's definitely something I'm going to try. I want to try it at least and dabble with it and see if it, like, makes sense. Because, yeah, even if my margin level isn't as high because I have to pay another bout of shipping to send all those, still more income. Like, it's still more profits, even if the margin isn't as high.
Yeah, for sure. For me, the whole reason why it's appealing to me to ship item or orders in now is so it was just over 6 pounds. The box that I sent, it was like 18 by 12 by 5. So it's a decent sized box. It cost me about $12 to ship that. Okay. If I drive up to London, today I didn't feel like going to the Goodwill bins. And it cost me probably at least $20 to drive to London and back. Plus, if I don't do anything except for just go drop stuff off, that's 2 hours. I'd rather give anybody $12 for my 2 hours.
Well,
yeah. So
surely your time is worth $6 an hour. I mean, yeah.
Sometimes I think the Goodwill bins is awesome, but at the same time, it's a bit of a burnout sometimes because, like, you can go and find nothing too. If I wasn't going there with the purpose of already going to Stallion Express, a lot of times when I go to the bins, it's stuff to throw in my booth, but it's a lot of junk. Like, it's not stuff you're going to sell online. It's just sort of kind of fun. A lot of stuff that you'd leave behind other places, but because it's so cheap there and I can sell it in my booth or lot stuff up and sell it, I'll pick stuff up. But it's, I kind of feel like I want a little bit of a break from going a couple times a week. And, I'm willing to pay the $12 to still get my cheap shipping. So yeah, that's my thought process anyway.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And so that $12, like, I know it's by weight and the size of the box, and it's going to vary, of course. But just in this case, how many orders was in that box?
So because of the holiday, I had dropped my mail off in London on Tuesday. So, and when we're recording this, it's Thursday. So there was, I think, 2 days worth of sales. And it would have been, I'm just trying to count them up, about 8 items, I think.
So we're really talking $1.50 an item, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's not, I mean, that's another level. I'm just asking because I like to break it down this way. For me, it's easier to digest $1.50 than it is $12. So if I think about any sale that I make, if I can't afford $1.50 off of my profit margins on that, I probably shouldn't be selling that item.
Well, listen, John, if you decided to use Stallion Express as well, now you have another shipping option. So if you had a heavy pair of shoes and they're going somewhere within Canada, there's a good chance you could still ship those for about $6. I couldn't tell you how many Guitar Hero guitars I've shipped for about $7-8 in Stallion Express. And
Wow.
even when you look at the US shipping, when you get into bigger items, you'll save a lot of money. Now that you have to be able to use it and want to use it and for it all to make sense. But if you're already going to send in Poshmark orders once a week, you could always be like, how much could I save if I shipped these pair of shoes or this or that, or this thing that's going to cost a lot of money?
Well, yeah, because even that difference in what I could save there might even be enough to pay for the box to actually send it to them. Like,
yeah.
No, I didn't even think about that.
Especially if you don't really even adjust your actual shipping prices because
Yeah.
that's unpopular in some cases where it may be gouging. I'm sort of the other way around. I'm sort of right on the line where sometimes I lose $1, sometimes I make $1, but I'm definitely trying to make my shipping look as low as it possibly could. But you don't have to fall in that model. You could still charge your just in case money, and then if you can get shipping way cheaper, well, there you go. You've just made a few extra dollars, and on the ones you lose money on, it works out a lot better for you.
Yeah, and I've kind of like I've gone back and forth on that over the years and stuff, and like so my philosophy is, and this is the way I would probably handle it if I was doing this, is like, so sometimes what'll happen is, a buyer will pay and they'll pay the Canada Post expedited parcel rate or whatever. But there's somewhere where I can send it through UPS for way cheaper. And, maybe I'm able to save like $6 or $8 or something like that. And technically UPS is an upgrade over Canada Post if you look at the time frames they offer. So sometimes what'll happen is, because I'm usually packing up and doing all my orders at once, like I usually do like every other day or something. So, I mean, I can have like, 10, 15 items to pack up. Well, maybe I save a little bit on that one, but on this other one, I was able to send out a more aggressive offer or accept a lower offer, knowing I'm not going to make the same amount of money on it because I saved a little bit over here on this first one where, I'm saving $6 or $8 on shipping. So like a lot of times I'll take one of those and kind of allow myself to earn $8 or something on shipping, because it helps me like negotiate what I'm doing with the rest of my orders over the next couple of days. Yeah. But now if I have like 2 or 3 or 4 where I get to send them by UPS or something, and I'm up $25, $30, like then I'm typically going to start like refunding people. I'm going to be like, hey, this didn't cost me this much. Like I don't really want to make money off of it. But if there's an opportunity to like give myself more flexibility because one customer overpaid $8 or something, I'm down for that.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. And I think you're allowed to put like a handling fee on there if you want to. They'll let you do all kinds of things. So I don't think there's anything. It's just sort of like however you feel about it. I think like, it's certainly creating a good experience for somebody. It might create a repeat sale, but for the most part, I've talked to different people about this too. If you have a good item and somebody wants it and it's not available, by 20 other sellers, they're going to pay your shipping no matter what it is, right? Like there's not much choice. That's just kind of the way it works.
Yeah. No, exactly. And I mean, like, I've always thought about it's the same as when, if we get mad at like, if we talk about thrift stores getting upset with us, for being resellers and going in and paying their price and then being upset about what we do with it afterwards. Well, I can't be consistent and be upset about like thrift stores having a hissy fit, but then also think like somehow I'm ripping off eBay buyers. Like how is that possible? If someone buys something and they pay the sticker price and they're okay with paying that, and clearly like it gets done, they bought your item, I don't know. I don't feel like there's any moral or ethical obligation to be like, oh, dude, you paid me an extra $2. Let me refund you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see it. That said, obviously, I still like, within reason, want to try to be reasonable with things. But like, if they pay the price and they're cool with that, I mean, if they've shorted themselves on the bills because they overpaid by $3-4 on shipping, that's a them problem, not a me problem.
Right. I think one of the only times I really even consider refunding somebody if they buy multiple things from me, but pay the total shipping like multiple times, then I'm like, you don't need to do that. I'll figure out what it costs me and then I'll refund them the difference.
Yeah.
But most other cases, I don't really refund too much at all.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
I did have an interesting Poshmark thing happen. So it happened yesterday, and then I was communicating last night and this morning with Posh Sidekicks or Poshmark support. Sorry.
Okay.
So it was just a 1-star review, but here's what happened. Okay.
All
So,
right.
somebody bought one of those Roots bathing suits, a pink one from me, size 16, 18, something like that, a bigger size. And said, hey, I got this. It still has the sanitary thing that women's bathing suit have in them. She's like, there's nothing wrong with it. It just doesn't fit me. And I'm like, well, I said, can I return it? And I said, well, the unfortunate thing is on Poshmark, it's listed with the right size. There's nothing wrong with the item. You should just reposh the item, recoup your money. Maybe you can even make a few extra dollars because I think she got it for like $5 cheaper than I had it listed for.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't do anything about it because I don't have anything to do with the shipping on here. It's through Poshmark. So she contacts Poshmark support and the guy starts off with like, or the support person's like, nope, can't give you a refund. Too bad. My money gets released. Then instantly I get a 1-star review. And then she starts making up things that are wrong with the item. She's like, it's supposed to be smooth inside. It's all bumpy. I think there's a color issue with this. It's off. And I'm like, I just said to her, like, okay, like, is a 1-star review really necessary here? Like, this has nothing to do with me. I did everything right. I explained to you what Poshmark is going to want you to do. This isn't my fault. Like, if you bought it and it doesn't fit you.
Yeah.
And so I contacted support and they basically said, and which I knew this, but I just kind of wanted to shed a little light, and I blocked the person who bought it too, which does really nothing, honestly. But like, they just said, at this time we can't, it's just opinion. Your bulk stars matter more than one experience, and you're fine. It's not gonna hurt your ambassador status or anything like that. But at this time, no, it's just their opinion, and you've got to eat it. I'm like, but you can see this person's just
making it up. Yeah.
They didn't get their way. Now they're just gonna make stuff up. They're still not gonna get to return it. I mean, I guess in the end, I should just be happy that I got the money. She couldn't return it, but I'm not happy with that because now I'm like, well, why can't she just say things that aren't true now? Even though it's not public or anything, it still bothers me though. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that, man. I had a very similar situation with that, but it's like I really want any Poshmark buyers who stumble across this and are watching this and are hearing this right now, just know there is literally zero that we can do about that as a seller. We do not have the ability to give you a refund. There's no button to press that can send money back to you. We have no control over shipping, nothing. We can't do it. That's all automated through Poshmark themselves. And so just keep that in mind. And now my experience was very similar, where I had a woman buy a kind of like a wool equestrian style blazer. And same deal. She said it doesn't fit. I'd like to return it. I was like, well, unfortunately, nothing I can do. And, here's where it even says in the Poshmark terms of service, like fit is not a reason for a return or a refund or anything. But, and then all of a sudden, yeah. Well, it's also not really the right color. It's like, well, okay, but you've already been like denied by Poshmark because she tried to escalate it. Same deal. It's like, like they've already shut you down. I mean, you can't now come up with a new reason or a new excuse. I mean, it's right here in writing. I mean, come on. Yeah. So it was entertaining. I don't know. I can't remember if she gave me a bad star review or not, but it's annoying because we literally don't have any control over that whatsoever. I mean, it's in Poshmark's terms of service because Poshmark would be the one that's on the hook for that return label. Like they would have to eat that if they approved it and said, yeah, sure, you can send it back. Like then Poshmark pays your return shipping. Is that fair to them because it didn't fit? Like,
yeah, they don't want that. They're not going to be behind return.
yeah,
Sure, that's their probably biggest cost of their business is probably return labels, I would think.
yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I found that one just a little bit over the top anyway, but that can be Poshmark. I've only ever blocked one other person, and it was over, I forget what it was. I think it was a hat or something, and the guy did wind up having to keep the hats because whatever he was saying was the same thing. It wasn't even close to reality, but the guy was like, he was also like swearing and like being like tough guy type thing. It's like, like, why are you acting like, what is going on here? But
yeah. I had a similar situation with like, a very well established account, and so I guess before I'll segue into this, it's like, I guess this is why on eBay, especially, you always talk about like new accounts. Are people zero feedback? Are they scammers or whatever? And there's always that risk, but honestly, I don't know, man. I've had just as many issues with like well-established accounts with like 1,000 feedback or more, and even other sellers and resellers, like than any new accounts. Like in the last week, I could look it up. I'm not going to bother. In the last week, I've probably received feedback from like 3 or 4 new accounts with under 10 feedback, and it's all been positive. They're just new to the platform, buying something from me, and all goes well. And then having no negative feedback, but messages and issues with people who are well established, who are just trying to squeeze something out of you. And it's like, trying to fish for a partial refund or something. And it's like, come on, man. Like, we've both been around here long enough. Are you really going to try to pull that on me? And well, I guess it'll be just fine the way it is then. So I guess feedback, I don't know. It's tough because I want good feedback for myself, but at the same time, I recognize that feedback on other accounts probably doesn't really matter much, right? So it's just weird. I'm kind of like, I want good feedback, but at the same time, I don't trust any feedback that other people have. So I'm in a weird position in the middle there.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I don't necessarily think, I haven't had, my feedback now is on eBay is like 99.3. I think I still have one maybe negative still kind of lingering there that's probably going to fall off soon, but I wouldn't say it's affected. I haven't had anybody call me out about like any issues that you can see there. You can clearly see them. They're public. I don't think either one's that ridiculous. The one was I canceled an order because I didn't have a jacket or something. And the other one was, what was the other one? A controller maybe that was supposed to be, I have to go back and look.
I think you mentioned it was something to do with the PS3 or something like that. Like maybe the controller they claimed didn't work or something. Or
right. And I think, and I just say in the thing, like I offered this person a refund. They could return it for absolutely free. They've never got back to me. And that it just sits there like that. So I'm like how, like if anybody looks at that, I guess they can at least see that I'm trying to be reasonable and this person's just not listening. But yeah, I don't know. Like I'm running sales too on eBay because I found eBay. I'm like, maybe if I throw some sales up, might be a good time, through September. I've got a 10% sale on maybe, I think it's mostly stuff that's already like pretty cheap, like $20 or less. So I don't really want to give huge discounts on that stuff. And then some older stuff, maybe a 20% off sale. And, it's starting to move stuff, but because I still have offers available, man, some of the lowball offers you get when stuff is already on sale, that can be pretty discouraging too.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I'm looking this up because I was thinking that I maybe had already done it. I realized that on one of my other phones, oh my God, this is how disorganized I am. You're talking about sales, and it reminded me that 3 days ago I was going in to create a sale on eBay.
Yeah.
And didn't ever actually finish it. So I just opened. Oh my God, I'm an idiot. Okay. Well, yeah, but no, you're right. Like it's so funny. Like, you can be running a 50% off sale, and then people will ask for 80% off of that. It's like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
I mean, this is already a really good deal. Like, this is already a $3 item, and you're going to offer me 50 cents? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, I don't know. I've never tried. I do use the bulk tool sometimes in eBay when I'm editing. Can you bulk edit turning off or to liker on and off? Or because I know you usually have to do it individually, right? Because that might
Like,
be
for auto offers on eBay?
yeah, because it is just a setting. So I wonder if you could, because that would save you a lot of hassle, right? I'm just trying to think like, how could you fix it? I guess if you could turn off offer to offers if you're going to run a sale, that would be really good. But I mean, you
Yeah.
have to do it through the bulk edit. I've never done it before. Like I said, I've edited lots of things through bulk edit before, but not that.
That seems like too good of an idea for eBay to have implemented.
Yeah.
No offense to any eBay employees watching this one, but man, that does sound like a really good idea, and I would not be surprised to find out that you can't do that.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because, like I said, that's a lot of times that's the biggest discouraging thing when you go to throw something up on sale is like you start getting super low offers. But I've been letting stuff go for really cheap. Like I sold a t-shirt for $13 that I think I was probably trying to get like 35, It's just like, I'm done with this. If someone's going to give me money and pay me, you can have it.
Yeah, I've been sending out really aggressive offers on stuff that has been old. But here's the thing too. Like, here's the funny thing that I always find happens is, I'll notice that I can send out an offer on eBay on this, sweater I've had for 2 years. Send out this super aggressive offer to somebody. It's apparently only got one watcher, and then they don't buy it, but 2 days later, someone buys it for full price. Have had no activity on it in 2 years, completely forgot about it even existing. And then you send out an offer to somebody, and then it sells 2 days later. So it must give it like a huge boost in the algorithm and in the search results. Somehow when I put my thumb up, it pops up on the screen with a thumb. Okay, I didn't realize that. But yeah, so it goes to show how important being able to send out offers really is, because even if they don't buy it, it's got to do something that just gives it a lot of visibility.
It does for sure. And that's the exact reason why you should never decline an offer, even if it disgusts you. Just offer full price, offer $1 off, whatever you want, but keep traction moving in the right direction, because that's exactly what can happen. It seems to push it back out in front of more people again, because now there's interest in this item and somebody probably will buy it. Yeah. So that's good. It's really good.
I've been dealing with lowball offers, the ones that are disgusting that you want to decline with some kind of nasty message attached. I've been countering with 1 cent off my asking price. So it's $39.99. They offer me $10. I go back with $39.98 and say I'm open to reasonable offers. However, 75% off my asking price is just as ridiculous as 1 cent off my asking price.
Yeah.
And I leave it at that, even though I'm the one that's done it. I've sent them back an offer of 1 cent off, and it's just I don't know. It's like they're probably not going to buy from me. I'm probably creating some distaste there, but at least it does still do the algorithm thing. So maybe it's a little spiteful, but
I like what you said though, because I use the exact same phrase exactly when somebody when you get that message on eBay in particular, what's the lowest you'll take for this item? It's like, this makes my skin crawl. Like, what kind of question is that? Right.
I hate it.
I say exactly what you said there a second ago. I'm open to all reasonable offers, right? That's how best offers on. And more times than not, you'll see what they think is reasonable. And sometimes it's not even that bad. So it's not terrible, because what I'd like to say, like what's the most you'll pay? What a stupid question.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, what's the most money you'll give me? Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I get it. Everyone's trying to make a deal or whatever, and I mean, I'm guilty of it to an extent as well. I mean, I don't ever really lowball anybody, but I mean, you know, if there's something I really like and I can see that, especially if I can, I've been watching it for a while and I know it's been on my watch list for a long time. So it obviously hasn't gotten the same amount of traction and hasn't sold, you know, and maybe it's been a couple of months or so. Then I'm more likely to be a little bit more aggressive with my offer if I'm trying to send something out, you know. Maybe they've got this video game listed for $40 and it's like, okay, it's been sitting there for a long time. I could go buy one right now for, you know, maybe even low 30s, mid 30s or something, but I want this copy because maybe it's just a really clean looking copy or something. But if it's been sitting around for like 2, 3, 4 months and it's been on my watch list, I might get a little bit more aggressive to start. I might even go down to like 25, which is, oh, what's that? Like, math, not mathing, whatever, $15 off of 45, like 30% or something like that. Yeah. You know, so I might even go down that low, expecting that they are going to counter, right? Yes. Like,
yeah, and that's,
but I'd never go like $10, you know,
no.
That's just stupid.
That is just stupid. And when I get those, like that $25 offer as a seller, I'm like, okay, so this guy's potentially serious. We're not that far off. How close can we get? And then it's a little back and forth. Those people who go up by $1 every time, stupid.
That's annoying.
It is annoying. Like, okay, but you know, you're entitled to do whatever you want. But that's sort of like that. Then I'm not like, you're not. This doesn't seem very serious. And a lot of times I'll just stop replying.
Yeah, true.
Do you have a particular sale of the week this week?
I do. So last week was a Legend of Zelda game that I sold. It was the Ocarina of Time. This week was Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess for Nintendo GameCube. And this was a complete copy, beautiful copy of the game, actually, out of my own personal collection. And I'm just looking at it here. Price charting had this sitting at around 160, 165 market value. Somebody sent me a very reasonable offer of $150, and I accepted it very quickly.
Nice.
Yeah, so $150. It was going to the US, and actually, yes, this was my first sale to Alaska.
Oh, how was shipping?
$8.
No way. That's pretty good.
Because Canada Post tracked packet right now through eBay is severely discounted. So it would have been the Canada Post to USPS tracked packet. If I went and bought that label at the post office, I'm talking $23, $24.
Yeah.
But on eBay right now, and actually it was going to be something I think that was only going to the end of March this year. This is the heavily discounted rates, but they must have negotiated it, and just now it's permanent. So yeah, like it would have been under, I think it would have been probably just under the 250 gram cutoff, which would have taken it to the next tier. But even that would have only been like $10. So yeah, it's cheap to sell to the US on eBay if you buy your labels through eBay right now.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So just Alaska, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Alaska for $8. If I send something to the town that's 10 minutes away from me, it's $25.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That sounds.
Because I'm in rural Nova Scotia. Right?
Yeah,
that's the rate.
So I sold another thrifted item that I got when I was out your way. Not super close to you, but I think it was like this one came from New Brunswick, I guess. So probably still like 300 kilometers from you. But I like to feel like I stole it out of your backyard if we're going to be honest about it. It was it was all over print, liquid blue tag. It was the one that was like purple with all the constellations all over it. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. I remember seeing that.
Yeah, I'll throw it up. So I had it listed for 100 because there were multiple sales for just that. I think it was part of my 20% off sale. So it wound up going out for $88. Somebody messaged me and asked me one question, and it was, are there any holes? And I said, absolutely not. I did look over the shirt before I said that, because, you know, at first I thought, okay, do they see a hole that I didn't disclose? Right. Because that's how my mind goes to the worst case scenario, not the best case scenario.
Right. They're trying to catch you in a lie or something. Yeah. So they got something, you know, for later. Yeah.
But it would have been at what's the Guy Frenchie's t-shirt price? $5 something?
Oh, yeah. So $4.95 plus tax. So if you were in New Brunswick, I think their tax is 13%. Ours is 15 in Nova Scotia. It could be 15 there as well. I pay $5.46, so you definitely didn't pay any more than $5.46.
Yeah. So even at a 20% off sale, still $88. Pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish that shirt would have fit me, because I mean I would have definitely kept it for sure. But
yeah, that was a cool one.
Yeah. So I was happy to see that sell. I also did sell, which I think I told you, I may have even been a sale the weekend here, that Smashing Pumpkins shirt too did wind up selling. So
Right.
I think all of the stuff that I picked up out there is actually already sold, except for a jacket that is, my daughter loves anime and probably would slap me for saying it wrong, but it's like Naruto or something like that. Does that sound familiar to you? You probably don't.
The only one that I know that's close to that is like Naruto.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Okay. I don't know anything about it. I know I've seen the title before, because there are some video games from that series.
We've already established my French is poor on this podcast. Obviously, other languages aren't going to be better. English, I'm just skating by. So, so you caught me there. Yeah. However John said it, that's what it is.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that, and so this is we'll throw this in for a comedic relief. I'm pretty sure that in that Naruto show, there's like this dude that runs by, and they call it like the Naruto run, where he like runs by with his arms out and his head down and stuff, and it's like this fast looking, just stupid anime run. But I think that's what it's from. And I've got a guy who plays softball with us that would do that every now and then when he was heading out to the outfield, like head down, arms out, and just doing the whole sprint. And it's just such a ridiculous thing to see a human do that, we'd all crack up. I think that's from Naruto. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong.
Naruto. I'll have to try to remember that somehow. Yeah, that's I don't know. I think that jacket might have been a bad buy. It's more of a modern like windbreaker jacket. I think I'll probably discount that at some point. But yeah.
Well, some of that stuff, it's tough, because some of that stuff, it's got a following. Yep. But is it like, is it more of like a novelty item that people aren't really going to buy? Or is it just, cause it's cool because it's the thing they like, but are they really going to buy it? It's tough. I've had a couple things like that before where I'm like, and they end up going for less than I originally thought. Maybe there's only a few comps on eBay and some idiot paid way more than it was worth. And that's kind of what I was thinking when I looked it up in the store, and then no idiot bought it.
Yeah, I mean that happens for sure. The other thing this week I've been trying to figure out. So like, I started working at more and more and more, and one of the things that's going to creep up here is cold weather. I'm kind of on the fence. I've been looking at different electric heating options, but I'm using EcoFlow, which is just like a lithium-based battery. And that's where all my hydro is coming from, right? There's a couple propane options that I can use, but it scares me a little bit because I don't want to die. I don't feel like dying in the shed from carbon monoxide or whatever, right? Most of these are considered garage safe. The one that I was looking at has a safety switch that'll turn off if oxygen levels get dangerously low, or if it tips over, it'll also turn off. So they've got some like fail safes built in.
Okay.
And propane ones don't use any electricity. They're self-reliant, right? So I'm like, that's kind of my thought right now. Cause I mean, I'm past the hot weather where I don't have to worry about air conditioning in there this year, but I do have to figure out some kind of heat solution if I plan on continuing to ship out there and be out there longer than 30 seconds.
Right. Yeah. Cause like I got a building here, and that's where I was storing some things before I, got my storage unit, which isn't heated, but at least it's inside a building that's a little bit more inside, because my building is just freezing. And it sucks pulling orders like out of totes or whatever, if it's out in the -20 or -30. Well, you've got it well insulated, so it shouldn't take too much to actually keep it heated, which is nice. But
No, yeah. My plan tomorrow is we have a little heater that's electric. I was gonna go plug it in the morning because it's been like somewhere between 7 to 13 degrees here, so it's cool. So I thought about throwing it out there in the morning and just letting it run to see how much it actually draws. How much, like if I could run it for 4 hours and it only uses like 20% battery, not such a big deal to go that way. But if I run it for an hour and it kills my battery and then I can't have any hydro out there, that would be bad. That's my concern. And I don't really, there's not a really, I'm sure there probably is a way to gauge that based off if you knew how many watts something put out and how to like calculate all that. I'm not that guy.
Yeah, I'm not that guy.
No
idea. Well, yeah, let me know what you go with there. I've always thought like propane is great, but I also just have this irrational fear of a propane tank blowing up. Like I know that it's like never gonna happen, but even when I'm barbecuing sometime, I'm like kind of nervous. I'm like, why am I nervous about this? It's the propane tank on my barbecue. This is not gonna blow. It would be impossible for this thing to blow. But I always just think about it. I don't know, just the doom and gloom in me, I guess.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way, and that's why it makes me nervous, because I think a rational person would probably know what they want and just kind of do that. I've researched both a disgusting amount of time. If you looked at my YouTube search history, it's basically like going to be food recipes right now and indoor heaters.
Indoor heaters, nice.
That's about it. So what's have you been throwing anything seasonal up right now? Have you been trying to like get sweaters and jeans and things?
I haven't been specifically sourcing for the season. I've got tons of seasonal stuff up that's already listed. Yeah. What I have done a little bit is gone back into my listings and like just kind of revised and revamped and tweaked some of those listings that are from like last season, where I think maybe, the price might have been a little too high, or just go in and double check, make sure things are good. So I've done some end and sell similar type of relists of seasonal things, but it's already stuff that's existed. I mean, I just continue to pick up whatever I find that I know I can sell. So,
okay. I just found myself, so I went today to Goodwill and I found myself purposely digging through, especially in the women's clothing, sweaters and jackets. And I wound up finding like a J. Crew wool trench coat that they were asking at Goodwill $18. I think there's a couple brand new listed for like $240. I'm going to try to get $140 out of it. I think I found a couple, like a lamb's wool TNA. It is sort of like a cardigan, but it's got a zipper instead of the buttons. I don't know if it's a technical name for that, but that's how what I'm gonna call it, is just that zipper cardigan. I don't know.
Zipper cardigan, yeah, sure, why not?
So I've been definitely looking for those type of items. I'm there's only whatever's available is available, but I mean, I'm going out of my way to purposely look for that stuff right now, because I do find that's kind of what's starting to sell in my stores, like sweaters and jeans and pants, and we're just getting into that, right?
For me, I will, because I've got that thrift store available, and they kind of have stuff out year round. Like, I will go in, and it doesn't matter if it's December or July or anywhere in between. I'll go in, and the first place I go is to the jackets, and I'll buy winter jackets in June. I'll buy the boots and all the rest in June. I'll buy tank tops in January. But typically I'll always start at the jackets no matter what, because they're the ones that are typically going to be your higher average sale price items. So like, I'll go in and browse through that every single time I go in the store. And it's funny. I remember one time I was coming out with I didn't find much. I found like 7 items, and I think 6 of them were like winter jackets. And it might have been like May, June, sometime in that range. And the woman at the checkout was just like, okay, you plan on them being cold anytime soon? I'm just like, what can I say? But
yeah, the one thing though I will say about hitting a thrift store today, because I do go to thrift stores still often, but like I was kind of complaining about the Goodwill bins earlier a little bit, just that I'm like kind of getting burnt out from it a little. But last time I went there, I spent like $6. The time before, about 20. A really expensive day might be $30 there. I went to just one Goodwill, bought I think 5 items and spent $80.
Yeah.
There's a huge, you know, the things that I bought probably will sell a lot faster than bins items. But I was like, oh yeah, this is like, you got to make sure this stuff is going to sell when you're spending money.
Yeah. Yeah. It's much higher risk when you're paying, you know, 10, 15 bucks an item. I mean, way higher risk for sure. And then you got to factor in like sell-through rates and okay, like, you know, how long do I realistically want to sit on this money and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it all factors in. I would still love to have the option of the bins near me at some point, but I can understand how that would be big time burnout too.
Yeah, I absolutely do love the bins, but it does become a little bit much after a while.
All right, guys. Well, that is it. We talked about quite a bit today. I'm a little excited about at least exploring that Stallion Express and getting in on the U.S. market for Poshmark, because obviously that's a few 100 million more potential customers. But yeah, still not 100% sure about that. Let us know down below what you guys think about you know, doing that, if you've done that, if you've actually sold on Posh US. Be interested in having a little bit more perspective before I dive in. And yeah, I guess that's about it. So we'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.